Can you guys hear me? I was having mic issues, so somebody in the comments, please let me know if you can hear me. Hey, Queen Ashley, Victoria H., Erica Suter, Dodie Redding, Mamita Alicia, Southern Girl, my Gypsy, Summer. Okay, good. You guys can hear me. Awesome. All right. So I want guests to come up tonight and talk with me about everything that just went on with Evil Demon Letitia. And then once we get done kind of talking about her, we're going to move on and show some pictures that you might have not have seen before of sweet Gannon and just kind of celebrate his life a little bit and the justice that he received today. Well, the best justice that we can give him. E squared, hey, honey. Donna, hey, hey. So I'm also on my phone because I still haven't moved my computer out of baby Bella's room. So I kind of have to remember how this works. All right, so link is in the chat for anyone who wants to come up and talk with me about this. Boy, this weekend I was stressed, I guess, like reeling, because I thought surely everyone knows that she is guilty and that she's playing this, DID insanity defense. But then there was like part of me that was just worried sick that somebody in the jury might have bought it, you know. And I was like, please no, because I read that if she was found guilty by reason of insanity, then she would only go to like a mental hospital for a couple of years. And that would just be the absolute worst thing for the family, for Gannon's sake. I mean, to me, it was just like a no-brainer that did you guys see her Google searches? Like in the what do you call it? Discovery. They put in I think it was like maybe 10 or so of the Google searches for everybody to read. So for 3 years. Hey, Chaotic, come up if you want to. I know Sarah's going to come up, but she's going to be like 15 minutes later so before she can come. But anyways, so for like 3 years, we had Google searches from Letitia on how to find a new husband. And hey, Queen Ashley, how to find a husband that doesn't have kids, how to military single men without kids. Like, we seen all of these things that she had searched, and how to clean the carpet and all this. But through this trial, she actually says, she Google searches, I hate my stepson. And what's really weird about these Google searches is it's almost like something. Oh, my stray neighborhood cat has just come to visit. So if you hear him, you've got food in the bowl over there. He's a stray, but comes here to eat. We've named him Smokey. Okay, Chaotic's headed home and she's got to eat, and then she'll come up. All right, so what was I saying? Oh, yeah, the Google searches. They don't even make any sense. When I Google something, and I'm sure when most of you Google something, you're looking for an answer to a question, you know. But some of her Google searches are just like she's putting her thoughts out there. I don't know if she's trying to find like-minded people or forums. I don't know. It's almost like something inside her, underneath all of that darkness and evil, um, was trying to get herself caught, because surely she had to know that they were going to look and see everything that she Googled eventually. She's supposed to be so highly intelligent, right? Um, but yet she put stuff like, I hate my stepson. I want to kill my stepson. She put things like, um, what was the other thing that blew my mind that I could not believe that she put? I'm blanking now all of a sudden. Oh, yeah. She researched DID. She researched Latino names, which, she came up with the name Maria Sanchez as her alternate personality, the one who actually killed Gannon, right? But we see that she came up with the name through Google. Like, everything that her defense could have used to help her, the prosecutors were able to just shut right down with evidence. This here that I have on the screen, Gannon's mother posted today, Landon, and she said, "Praise God, I have never been so happy and thankful in my entire life. My heart and love goes to everyone who has given their time and love. The love of Gannon has stretched across the world. You have given us more strength than you can imagine. God is good and Gannon is dancing. All my love to you all. Forever thankful. Justice is served." And I don't know about you guys, but if you watched the victim's statements today and you saw Landon come up and pour her heart out, you can still see that she has so much anger, and rightfully so. You know, I try to put myself in their shoes and think what I would be like if something like that would happen, and God forbid anything like that ever happened. But I just try to do that in any situation. If I'm watching something here on YouTube or on television or true crime, and I honestly don't know if I could hold myself back seeing face to face, or knowing that someone who murdered my child is just a couple of feet from me. And I know that it's been 3 years, but I'm sure that this trial and sitting there through everything has had to just bring it all back full force for them. And it takes a lot of strength, a lot of strength. I think they would probably be escorting me out of the courtroom. I'm going to put the link in here one more time again. Someone just texted me about it. Yeah, she broke my heart too. But I think seeing the anger that Landon still had, it kept me kind of fueled, like in that fight mode for Landon. But when Al came up, and I've actually had some anger towards Al, and I feel bad about even having those feelings, because surely he had no idea that Letitia would do something like that. Like, it's unthinkable, right? You know, but there are certain things that just irritated me, but I know that no one's perfect, and he is focused on taking care of his family and his work and pulled in every direction. So the mistakes that he made, are understandable. But at times I did get irritated and upset with him. But his statement today had me in tears even more than Landon's did. And there was a few things that he just said that I couldn't hold back, and it had me bawling. See, Gypsy could not keep from screaming at her daughter's killer in court. That's how I would be, Gypsy. I understand that. I would be the same way. So For anyone in here that may not know anything about the case, I'm going to show this one time because I don't ever want to see her evil face again. Hey, Trixie. But this is Letitia. Scum of the earth, evil incarnate, demon, who took an innocent, beautiful, sweet little boy at 11 years old from this earth. And over 3 years, you kind of feel like you get to know Gannon. What grips me in the very beginning with this case is that my son, one of my sons, was 11 at the same time Gannon was 11. He also has the dark hair and the dark eyes, and at that time his teeth were a little too big for his mouth, you know, and same like body shape. They resembled so much that I was like, oh my goodness, what just happened to this boy? And in the beginning I thought he was missing, like, news reported. Excuse me. And my heart just broke for the parents, and I was hoping he would be found. And I remember getting on my hands and knees and praying that this little boy would be found, because he reminded me so much of my son. As they started showing more photos of him with the Sonic stuff and the Mario stuff, that's exactly what my 11-year-old son was into at the time. So it was too much, because it was so similar. And then as more information came out about him and people were talking about him, his own teacher spoke about him. A couple of his friends' parents spoke about him, the babysitter, his grandparents, people from their church. Like, no one had anything bad to say. And I get it that when a kid is missing or possibly harmed, people aren't going to come out and say, oh yeah, he was a little brat. But but when you hear their stories about Gannon and how he always wanted to help everyone, and if he saw somebody upset, he would try to comfort them, and he'd pat them on the back and tell them it was going to be okay. Or if you've went on his mother's Facebook page when she had everything public, she had probably like 15 videos that Gannon had taken and sent to her, which she's going to cherish them forever, I'm sure. And he's just, I miss you, Mommy. I love you, Mommy. Tell my baby sister I love her. Can't wait to see her. Guess what, Mommy? I was just thinking about you today. I love you. And there's just, like I said, about 15 of these videos where you see that he's just got the purest, sweetest heart. And so it just, the fact that this evil witch took that baby's life in such a horrific way. Why did she have to stab him 18 times? Why did she have to beat him after she stabbed him? Why did she feel like she had to finish him off, which I'm sure he was, I hope, he was already gone by the time she started shooting at him? It was beyond overkill. I don't get it, And at first, I really hoped that she did snap for some crazy reason and kind of nut up and just go batshit crazy. Excuse my language. Because there was something severely wrong with her, and she was triggered and just blacked out and went nuts. I really hoped that was the case. But watching the trial and seeing that she cleaned up afterwards, that she took and hid him on a couple occasions, And then she hid him from everyone and drove across states to dump him in Florida. And then she immediately went into researching stories and trying to find, you know, wanted people around in her area to pin it on. And then listening to her tell Al a different story after a different story after a different story. I realized then that no, she was not insane. She didn't snap. It was premeditated to a point because she had thought about it, I think, a couple of days leading up from the evidence that we saw. And I think, in a way, in a sadistic type way, she took that picture that morning, which Al says in his closing statement, that he thinks that she took that picture of him lying there all pale like that in a way to taunt him, in a way that, knowing when it all came out, that that's the last way he saw his son. And it's just disgusting. Let me read some of these. Queen Ashley said, I couldn't really watch the full trial because my grandson was born at 25 weeks and was just 2 pounds. Every time I heard that, I got extremely sad, and I can't see why he was harmed. I'm glad that you told me that, Queen Ashley, because I actually had one of the pictures to show him as a preemie, because I was going to talk about that since his mother talks about it so much. But I won't show the picture if it's going to upset you. Trixie said, not to bring up another creator to be rude, but did you see all Zav Girls' interview with someone who knew Letitia in high school? I didn't watch the whole entire thing, Trixie. I watched maybe 30 minutes of it. I do love Zav Girl. Gypsy said, stabbing like that is up close and passionate killing. Yeah, I think we can pretty much agree that the reason why she did this to Gannon, okay, Queen Ashley, is because he loved his mom too much. She was mad at Al. She, said at one point in time she wanted to live the life of a Kardashian, right? So she didn't want to have to work. She wanted to go do what she wanted to do when she wanted to do it, spend up his money, buy designer clothes and purses, go to spas. I mean, the woman complains about her life like she's so mistreated and she's so used. But we find out that she's been to every Caribbean island. They went to a family trip to Hawaii for their big, Christmas trip. A week before she murders Gannon, they went on a cruise. Her and Al. Hey, Southern girl. So, I mean, how bad was her life that she was used to regularly going on these luxury vacations, and she had all these designer clothes, designer purses. She had access to the bank account, which, she used money for whatever she wanted all the time, didn't even have to ask Al. She goes, spends Christmas in Hawaii with the family, then brings them home, and a month later she's on a honeymoon cruise with Al, But she's a victim because she's mistreated, and she had to take care of his kids all the time. She leaves out the fact that she fought so hard, harder than Al did, to take those kids away from their mother. First, she took Al away from Landon. They were friends. They were BFFs. Okay. And on a softball team, coaching a softball team together. when she went behind Landon's back and flirted with Landon's husband and waited until they were having a hard time in their marriage, and she slithered her way in like a home wrecking snake and stole out from underneath Landon. Then she talked crap about Landon to Al after he divorced Landon and went with Letitia, and told a whole bunch of lies about her to everyone they knew. And this is one of those things where I say that Al got on my nerves at times as well, because he never stood up for her. And he knew a lot of the stuff was lies, but he never stood up for his children's mother. And I don't like that. But just a few months into their new marriage, Al buys them a brand new home in North Carolina. He lets Letitia pick it out. All right. And then Landon is going through problems with her boyfriend. He's abusing her, and she's now pregnant with a new daughter, and her pregnancy is really rough, and she's in and out of the hospital, and she's on bed rest, and she can't work, and the boyfriend pretty much bails out of the picture, leaving her to financially support herself, and she can't, so she loses her home. But her mom is helping her, and her sister is helping her through the hard time. Hey, Lori. And while she's going through that rough, difficult time, a difficult pregnancy, a bad relationship, losing her home because of it, what is her old BFF doing who stole her husband? Telling everybody that knows them that Landon's on drugs, and Landon can't work and take care of herself, and she just lost the home, giving their kids no place to live. Blah, 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 blah. And immediately starts talking Al into removing the children from the house and them coming and staying with her, and calling DCF on Landon and making her life a living hell. From the time Letitia stole Landon's husband, she went on a mission to make Landon's life a living hell. And we hear in court today him apologize to Landon. And that was awesome. I'm glad he did that. And we hear Landon say she used to love Letitia. She had love for her even after she stole her husband. She didn't know all of the horrendous things that were even being said about her, because Letitia was two-faced. And she was nice to her face, but a snake behind her back. Yes, Mamita, they sure do. They definitely need to do that. Yay, Sarah's here. All right, Sarah, I'm going to put the link in the chat for you. That nasty bee. I know, no swearing here. Disgusting chick. Oh, she is. I mean, I honestly, and I've followed so many cases, but I think this is the most disgusting, wickedest, dark soul, hoochie of a sad excuse of a woman that I have ever seen in my life. Hey, Sarah.
Don't porn bomb me, bro.
Oh, I was planning on it. Dang, you got
Well,
me.
I just like to say, that's my code, so people know I'm me when I come up. It's like,
Oh,
it's my thing now. It's my signature because people are afraid these days to get porn bombed.
that's
Yeah.
true. So
So I
did you
just came
follow
in
this
just
case at
now.
all?
Well,
Okay.
in and out, but when they started doing I'm not as familiar as a lot of people because one of the days that I was gonna watch it or sat down to watch it, they were gonna get into the graphic stuff, so I couldn't do it, so I left. But today I watched it, the verdict and stuff on Gypsy's channel and all that. So
Yeah. Did you see
phenomenal.
the impact statements from the parents?
I haven't seen an impact statement. Those two statements and the judge together was like the best stuff I seen in the court. It was palpable, tangible. That's what I said on Gypsies, because and I was just in shock at the same time that she had no reaction whatsoever. She didn't flinch. Everybody that read that heard that was touched in some way. Even the judge looked like he was going to tear up, and she didn't even move. What's wrong with
Yeah,
her?
she knew what was coming to her.
Oh, she had to
I
have known. But
Yep.
still, to hear those people that that were your family talk like that and not even look at them, not even turn your head,
Now
horrendous.
she did look up whenever Landon Gannon's mom came up.
Oh, I didn't see that part for some reason. It must have been like
Yeah.
a quick look.
Oh, it was when she first came walking up there. She did turn and looked at her, and she kind of sized
Oh,
her up a bit,
oh,
and then she went back to her, normal,
posture, sunken
yeah,
posture.
the ring looking self.
She does look like the ring, or what's that thing? Momo, the thing with the eyes and the mouth that was scaring kids on the internet. Is it Momo with the
Yes,
hair?
yes.
Yeah, that's what it reminded me of, Momo hair.
Well, Southern girl, her ex-husband died of a drug overdose in another state that she wasn't in at the time. So she definitely did not kill her
I
ex-husband,
was just gonna
but
say,
I'm sure she probably drove him crazy.
yeah,
Um,
it's possible.
yeah, but Al saying today, like, why didn't she take her anger out on him, or another adult? Like, why did it have to be an innocent 11-year-old boy who couldn't even defend himself? Like,
Yeah,
what a coward! Just so gross. But
yeah.
she was so obsessed with Landon, and I mean, I don't know why she sold her husband. She had her children. She had a new home in North Carolina. And then after they bought the new home in North Carolina that she picked out and she decorated, Al got called out to go to Alaska. But she
Hmm.
got to stay in the home with her daughter, while Al was out there, and she just went out to visit him. The longest time she spent out there with him was a full month. And during that time that she was out there with him, she accused his, whatever it is, lieutenant or something, I don't know what you call it,
Hmm.
of molesting her, of coming on to her, sexually
Oh,
harassing her, and got
brother.
him kicked out of Alaska and moved to Colorado. But what
Oh,
did Al do? He let her find a house in Colorado that she wanted and pick it out and decorate it. I mean, she was spoiled rotten,
wow.
and that's how she repaid him.
Right?
It's so gross.
It's mind blowing. It's mind blowing. Okay, so I mean, somebody else said that she looked a few times. It's just when I was watching, I guess the parts I seen, I never saw her move, so that bothered me that she didn't even acknowledge anyone. So sounds like she did a little bit at least move or look their way. So I guess I was wrong about that part.
Well, when Al was talking about what Lena had told him, um, and then he went to talking about what he believes that Gannon's last words would have been as
Hmm.
Letitia was hurting him. Um, she looked up kind of at him with this look like, "You're so wrong, dude," or, "Oh,
You'll
that's
never
just
know.
stupid." Yeah,
Yeah.
like, you don't even
I
know.
tried to
Like,
zoom it. Yeah.
yeah. So, in a way, I think there was a little truth behind that. That was
Hmm.
probably her way of saying that no, that's not what was said at all. Um,
Yeah.
but we do know, and I don't think, honestly, I don't think he said anything. I think he was just screaming like what she told the doctor, which is horrible. But, she did give away truth here and there.
Hmm.
Hey, Rosemary J.
Oh wow. Hi, Rosemary.
I seen you in, I think it was Zav Girls chat, and you said that you had been in the hospital not doing good for the past month.
Hmm.
So
I
I
saw
I
that
did
too
a
somewhere.
yeah, so I said a prayer for her after I saw that. I just wanted her to know. Trixie's Creations. I am a stepmom, and there are two other moms. No, I don't like them, but I would never have hurt my stepchildren. My God and I have been raising kids for 34 years, and I couldn't imagine harming any child, right?
Nope. Nope.
It's just insane, but not the kind of insanity she was trying to go for.
Yeah, and it
But
was
I'm
kind of
so
interesting the
glad.
judge called that out too.
Yeah, I think he wanted to say so much more, but he seems like a very classy fellow. I like how he handled
Yeah.
everything through the whole trial. I think he got his point across very
Oh
nice.
yeah.
And seeing him get choked up, you know,
Yeah. I thought he was gonna cry at one point. Yeah. When the dad was crying.
I couldn't believe they actually showed the images and all of that during trial. I don't know if y'all
Oh
saw that. I wasn't
no.
expecting it. It gave me nightmares, but I'm so thankful that Al and Landon wasn't in the room when they did that. They told them not to come that day.
They televised it. Was it on? It was on
Yes.
TV. Oh.
Yes. Well,
Oh gosh.
WebEx.
Okay.
Yeah. Um and as disturbing as it was, like I said, I had nightmares and I was like, "Oh gosh, I wish I didn't even see that. Like I can't believe they did that." I
Yeah, I
guess
wouldn't be able to handle that.
for the jury, I'm sure it was a huge impact on them and had a lot to
That's
do with the decision.
true. Oh yeah,
Yes.
I'm sure.
Well, you know what, Trixie? When she committed the crime, they actually still had the death penalty. I saw
Oh.
Crime Talk talking about it, and they said that they've done away with it now, but if a crime was committed before, they could still do the death penalty. However,
Mhm.
they got rid of all of the equipment and stuff in the state now,
Wow.
so they would have to move her from another state to do it, and that costs a lot of
Mhm.
money. And the family has to request it,
Oh, I wonder.
and neither Al or Landon requested her to be put on the death penalty. Hi, Downeaster Alexa.
I thought it was interesting how after all that too, she sits and tries, to make a request to move, move from her prison at the end there. I don't know where she was
Well,
trying to move to.
is she? This is something my husband and I were talking about. Is she been residing in like a county jail up until now because she was innocent till proven guilty, um, or has she been in a prison? Like I don't know.
I just assumed she was probably in a protective one.
I know
I
that
don't
she
know.
was
I'm
like.
not. I might look into that.
I know she was harassing the judge like throughout the past 3 years, sending him letters complaining of her everything.
Well,
Um,
should have thought about that.
right. She was complaining about the food. She said that there was an inmate threatening to kill her. Someone had put um, a message in her peanut butter that they were going to kill her.
Oh my goodness.
Okay, Dodie said she's been in county and solitary. That's what I thought because,
Wow.
and I think she got herself put in solitary by her own actions and her complaints and all of that. Because at one point in time she was doing a Bible study. Yeah, she was leading a Bible study, and
What?
yeah.
I don't think I'd take lessons in faith from someone who murdered a child. No offense. I mean, good for you, but
Yeah, well, I mean, they probably didn't know
yeah.
that what her charges and stuff were, but yeah, she was doing that at one point in time. But then she was telling someone that she was going to escape, that she was going to not eat, lose all this weight so she could slide through her window and get out. And so being busted on that because the other inmate turned her in, I think that has something to do with her going to solitary.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Sometimes they can request it too for protective, protective reasons to, if they feel like they're threatened or someone's going to hurt them, it's usually an option. And usually high profile cases, they often do it. Like even Don Wells, for instance, he was, I think he spent his whole time in protective.
Right.
I
So
don't think he was out of it. If I could be wrong, that's what I think for some reason.
she could be transferred even out of the state because I know like Chris Watts, after his trial was over, new people that came into the prison. They knew who he was. They knew what he did. It became unsafe for him, and they like transferred him to Wisconsin
Hmm.
for his safety. So she might not even stay in the state of Colorado since her case was so high profile.
Yeah, I wonder. I feel like I don't know, he made a statement about it, but I was just so wrapped up in the impact of everything else, I wasn't even like just appalled that she would ask and think, just to do that right there after all that, these people are crying their hearts out and she's worried about, that. I don't know.
Yeah. So Leslie said she requested the prison she be sent to. Judge told her it wasn't left up to him, nor would he give any recommendations.
Right.
Yes, and that is true. And now Al requested that she continue to stay in solitary for so many years, um, so she can only just live.
Oh, right.
Off. Yeah,
Yeah, he
and
did say something about that for certain things. Yep.
yeah,
And he wanted his name removed from her immediately, which I don't blame him. And he didn't want her dollar something, like seriously, a dollar something. They really give that to him.
yeah, I know,
That
right?
that's more like that's just more like a reminder of torture. I don't blame the guy. What's that gonna do? That's more
Right.
just in your face. Personally, I wouldn't want it either.
Yeah, the restitution, and then the defense lawyer comes up and says, "Oh, well, he's heated right now. You know, let things calm down, and then we'll come back about restitution in 90 days or something like that." I'm like, it's a dollar something. I don't think he cares.
I know, right? Yeah, Leslie, I agree. I wish I had followed more of it too. It's just that, like, when I was starting to think I wanted to get into it, I would kind of watch it sometimes, but then I would be in parts that were kind of like, I just couldn't get into it. But then after today, I did wish I paid more attention. I just didn't want to listen to the gruesome stuff. A lot of it was reminding me of Lori Vallow kind of stuff,
Yeah. Good night,
just
Southern
the
Girl.
the brutal abuse. Oh, good night, Southern Girl.
Yeah, that's
Hey,
another case that,
that's a
but,
psycho one right there.
but still, even with that case, I feel like that Lori was completely brainwashed.
Mm-hmm.
That she's definitely not right in the head. You know, um,
Mm-hmm.
she was in a cult. You know,
Basically, yeah, I do believe she was brainwashed too.
yes. Where with Letitia, I think she's just pure evil. Like she did everything intentionally out of jealousy and hate, and just no redeeming quality about her whatsoever.
Mm-hmm.
I think she deserves all that she gets. Now, I didn't hear the judge grant Al's wishes, but I think that maybe because she's been in solitary for so long already, anyways. Um, but as far as like getting her name changed, he may be able to do that because he was able to grant or request for Al's divorce to be finalized without Al having to pay a cent. He did that for
Mm.
him.
Oh, that's good. That's
Yes,
just horrific torture to be stuck married to that when she's. Oh,
Rosemary J said, "I wonder if she's ever seriously harmed or killed anyone else."
I thought of
I don't
that too.
know. about killing, but I did look her up and find her record under Leticia Lee Hunt. Um, and she has several domestic violence. If
What?
you go to Justice for Gannon Stout on Facebook, I posted it all on there. Um, she has like 6 or 7 battery charges. So
Do
she
you
does
know
have
what
a
this spreads, like what course this spreads, like over 10 years, the last few years? Has she been doing this kind of thing for a long time? I wonder because how did she get these teaching jobs? That's what I mean. Like, did they not
yeah.
look into her enough or were they after?
I don't think well, they were out of state charges. Most of them were in Ohio, but there were a couple in North Carolina. And how she got the teaching job, I don't know because
That's messed up.
and they were spread out over years.
Wow. More people should know about that. Can you post stuff like that here on sometime or like a slideshow or just
Yeah,
post the records? I think people would want
I'll
to see that.
post it on my community page for everybody to see her record.
I think she'll get beat up too, Leslie. And I think so that the Wells are next too. No offense to anyone who, you know, thinks they're innocent.
What is Gypsy talking about? What did I miss? She said, "Heck no,
Let me go
she
back.
they submitted an appeal to
Uh,
what? I
Missed
missed
that part.
something."
Me too. I wonder
I
though too about like if there was drugs and if she tried to drug people or something as small as that and it just didn't go, they just didn't die.
Well, she did
Weren't
fill Gannon full of hydrocodone.
what the frig?
Um,
That's
so Sunday
I wonder.
night there was a candle incident. For the longest time, people didn't believe that the candle thing even happened. Um, they thought that there was a video of her talking to Gannon, and telling him, did you do this on purpose? Pinky promised that you didn't do this on purpose, and he says, I didn't. And then she starts, gaslighting him and terrorizing him. Well, she had edited that video, so we didn't really know what was going on.
I hear you. I'm sorry. I hear you, kittens.
Oh no,
They're
this is
making
the
they're
straight.
making me they're making me laugh because I hear the rare.
I'm doing this live on my phone in my garage, so I don't disturb any of the kitties that are sleeping, the kids. So this guy, he just comes into my garage anytime he wants and begs for food. Um,
Hey, why not?
I've tried to get him into a carrier so I can take him down and just get him fixed and keep him since he's here every single day. But as soon as I try to pick him up, he goes to scratching. So eventually he'll chill out, I guess. But what was I at? What was I saying? Uh, you made me lose train of thought.
Sorry. I know, we totally did. Let me go back to the chat. We were trying to figure out something about what Gypsy said. Then, all right, let me put my chat back on.
Yeah, she is just plain
We
evil.
were wondering about drugging, like drugging other
Oh
people, I
yeah.
think.
Yes. Um, she when the burn incident happened, okay, she had edited that video that she had posted, which she only posted that video to, try to prove that he did something bad. He knocked over a candle and it had her stressed out and he got hurt. That was the whole reason she posted that video. I think at that point he was pretty badly burned on his arms and I think she did it to him. And then she didn't want to take him to the hospital or anything like that for fear she would get in trouble. So she just drugged him with hydrocodone. And I think
Oh,
she was hoping that that would kill him. And that's when she started messaging her daughter Harley and Al and coming up with stories about Gannon talking about bath salts and Gannon having a cigar in his backpack. which even her own daughter said that it was so like in your face, placed in the backpack, that if Gannon really was smoking cigars, he would have hit it a lot better than that. But she put
He
it
was
like,
so
if you,
young, wasn't he?
yeah, he was 11, but she was trying to make it out like he's hanging out with this older guy, and it's,
Bath salts, come on.
yeah,
He looked
and
like a baby.
she just, I think, thought if the hydrocodone killed him, then she needed to already have a story as to why he had drugs in his system.
I don't know how she would have explained the burns. Unless she could have just, if she planned on winging it, psycho.
Well, that's why she did that video of the candle incident where she, says, "Did you do this on purpose? Pinky promised you didn't do this. We're going to have to sell the couch now so the landlord don't kick us out." And she's just, now, like I said, she edited a part out where he said, "I'm only worried about my burns." She she took
Oh,
that out when she posted it on social media. But the police got the full video from her phone and played the full thing in court, where you hear, now it's different. Now it sounds like she's just blaming him, and Gannon's just going along with it all because he's hurt and he just wants her to shut up, you know?
wow. Which to me shows that there's a pattern and he's used to it. If he's already learned that, it takes time to learn that if you just go along with it like that, that's usually because you've been dealing with it for a while. You're numb to it, so you just go along with it.
Right. And when you put all the pieces together, and it's a lot to put together, um, to me, it sounds like, and if anybody in the chat thinks that my little theory is wrong, please tell me, because I'm just doing my best to try to put it together. But I think, um, after Al left, she was very frustrated. She didn't want him to leave. She wanted him to stay there. She was not ready for another few weeks at home alone with the kids again. Even though she
Hmm.
just had her nice cruise vacation and her trip to Hawaii, she was already being this way. I think she took them to the Garden of the Gods, and that's where she was already kind of coming up with a way where she was going to kill Gannon. I think she did think about knocking him off a cliff or whatever she could do. But she had Lena there with her, and the place had a lot of people there because you see the people in the background of all the photos. So it didn't work out for her like she wanted. I think she was already giving Gannon a hard time, and that's why he messed his pants, because she had him so stressed out.
Hmm.
When he did mess his pants, I think that embarrassed her, that angered her even further. When they got home that night, I think he was probably whiny and he was upset and he wanted his mom, because his mom stated that he called her on FaceTime just about every day. It's actually throughout the whole trial, it's talked about how much Gannon called his mom all the time. And that's one thing that angered Letitia so bad. And she even told a therapist, "I don't know why he didn't love me more. I took care of him. I did everything for him. Why didn't he not love me more?" So, more proof that she was jealous. So, I think he
Yep.
wanted to call his mom when they got home because he was upset. He messed himself. She had been yelling at him all day. And then she talks about how all she wanted to do was just go and ride on her Peloton, put her headphones on, and not be bothered. But then the whole candle thing happens, she claims. Well, I think she was stressed out, obviously. She wanted to go do her exercise and be left alone. Something happened and it got made her mad. And I think because there's a timestamp that night where he tried to call his mom, but the call is only like 15 seconds. His mom never answers before the phone is hung up. I think he went to
Hmm.
call her and Letitia snatched the phone from him,
That's
turned the
exactly what I
call
was
off.
gonna say.
Yes.
Yep.
And during that, you know, argument that they were having, the candle thing got knocked over. Um, that's what I'm thinking. And somehow or another, he got really badly burned. And I just don't see that happening by accidentally knocking a candle open over, even if wax got on him.
Hmm.
I feel like she burned him on purpose out of anger.
But then she went and made him make a video that was like some sort of cover for her. She thought that was
Yep.
her cover. Because it's weird
Mm-hmm.
to do that, like make it acted out like that. Like she knew she was in trouble and calculated a plan and made him act. Weird. Oh, sorry. 1 second.
Yeah,
Some
right,
neighbors were
Leslie.
having a ruckus or something like that, and you don't like it. You don't like a ruckus.
Leslie said, "Not be bothered. It don't work that way when you're a mother." Exactly. Um,
Oh shit.
but I feel
Excuse my
like if
language.
Gannon would have accidentally knocked the candle over, and that's all there was to it. Okay, and he somehow or another burned himself in the process of doing that. I feel like she would have, because she tried so hard to put on this show that she was a great stepmother. She would have taken him straight to the hospital and had the burns looked at and wrapped up. The
Mm-hmm.
fact that
Right.
she did it makes me feel like it's because she purposely did it. The fact that she went and made that video and then edited it to try to pin it on Gannon like he did something wrong makes me feel like she did something to him on
That's so
purpose.
calculated, and she was afraid of getting in trouble, which shows guilt. And the fact to have him acted out like it, all that's so twisted. That's so calculated. She
Hmm.
thought of everything. She thought it all out.
Oh yeah, and I think that was the beginning of it. Like at that point, she knew she had went too far. I think besides just burning him, she probably had smacked him around, hit him a few times at that point. Um, and I'm thinking maybe that's where some of the first of the blunt force trauma comes in.
Hmm.
And she just knew she had went too far. So that's when she started texting out and Harley about the bath salts and the cigar and his older friend he's hanging out with and all of this kind of stuff because she went to drug him. That was her next way to try to kill him. But the next morning, Monday morning, when he woke up and he didn't pass away, I think that's when it all went crazy, you know.
Hmm.
And we see him walk out of the house with her and get into the truck. And like the neighbor said, for a boy who's usually full of energy and jumping and skipping around everywhere, he's very slowly walking. He's sluggish. He can't hardly get himself up in the truck. He drops his switch and he can't even pick it up. Letitia has to bend over and pick it up and throw it into the truck. Um, he wasn't good that
Drugged.
morning, and I think it's because he was so drugged up. Yeah.
Damn.
What did Leslie say? When I heard how he was found, I got so sick to my stomach. I'm a bridge builder by trade, and I could never ever imagine finding a child like that. It would absolutely destroy me. Yes, it would. I, I don't think that's something that would ever leave your brain after seeing something like that. You know, God bless those guys that found him. They're going to have to live
Yeah, I
with
don't
that
even know
forever.
that part. I don't know the details of that part. That's when it.
After she murdered him, she put him into a suitcase with, and it's a big suitcase, okay, with his blankets, with his pillow, everything, because she needed to get rid of all of that because of the blood and stuff, you know. Um, so she put him into a suitcase, and then she hid
She brought
him
all that
in.
in the car.
Yeah, she
She
hid him
brought
in the
like
store
the Suki.
first,
Okay.
while the police came looking for him, and she did the report as a runaway. She said he was a runaway. Um, so while the police were there, little Gannon was there, and they didn't even know it. Then she
In
transferred
the
him in.
suitcase.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Oh, I thought you said when they got in the car when he was dropping his switch and stuff that she had taken him somewhere with the
Oh,
blankets
she.
and everything.
That Monday, they went all over the place. She went to Petco. She went to Burger King. She went to, well, she started heading to Play It Again Sports. I don't know if she actually ever went there or not. But she drove all around, and I think that was her. I think, in my opinion, she taunted
To
him
be seen.
that entire day and was looking for a place to off him, and she couldn't find anywhere where there wasn't people around or where she didn't think she was going to get caught by a camera or something. So she just taunted him all day. Now, at one point in time, she does stop in front of a Subway. And for the longest time, all the sleuthers thought that she was going to go in and get Subway or something, because she sat outside of Subway for so long. But actually, if you looked it up on the camera, across the street from the Subway in the same parking lot, like they share the same parking lot, is a urgent care, like Advent Health urgent care.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think she sat there for like 30 minutes contemplating on, should I take him in there and get care for him and just come up with a story, or you know should I continue with my plan to just get rid of him? And I think she did for like 30 minutes sit there and contemplate it, and then ultimately she decided instead to go home and get rid of Gannon the way she did, because I think she came up with in her mind that she was going to try to say he ran away, and if that didn't work, that she was going to say that an intruder had came in, raped her and hurt Gannon. And the second story that she ended up using, I think she planned it while she was sitting right there in the parking lot in front of that doctor's office.
Mm-hmm.
But after she killed him, she placed him in that suitcase. She left it in her utility room or storage room, I believe. Um, while the cops came in, and while she gave the cops the lie about him running away from home and all of that. And then as soon as the cops left, she loaded it up into her Tiguan SUV, and she drove him over to, oh, what's the name? Somebody in chat can tell me what the name of that park place is. It's like a nature's reserve area.
Well, I guess
Um,
they didn't use any dogs then. They would have came in the house and found him. They would
oh
have sniffed
yeah,
the suitcase. They should have.
oh yeah, for sure.
If only they used
But
dogs the first time. Why didn't they do something like that?
because she was just reporting him as a runaway, they
Oh,
were
right. Right.
considering at that time that something had happened. But she went
Hey, come here.
off at nature's park place where he sat for a couple of days in below zero freezing temperatures. And then when her family arrived to get her and Harley and take them to North Carolina, she went back, picked up his body, and transferred it out of her SUV into the moving truck. And
Dang.
at this point in time, her brother was there with her to help her to load all her stuff and get it out of there. He sees the suitcase and he sees how big it is and how heavy it is because Letitia's struggling with it. And he offers to help her. And she says, "No, I got it. It's just a bunch of softball equipment, but I've got it." And so that was
Wow.
traumatizing to him once he realized,
That's what I was just gonna say when he heard that story. He must have heard that in the trial, and he's gonna have
yes,
guilt. Like, I should have helped. I should have helped her with that suitcase. I would have known. I bet he's gonna live with that.
yeah, he yells at her. They actually, when he first gets called onto the stand, they actually had to take like a 5 minute break for him to cool down, because he
Oh,
starts
really?
screaming at her, "Why, Letitia? Why would you do this?" He loses it.
I don't blame him, and I would have let him.
And then when you find out that he was right there, where with little Gannon's body, and he didn't even know it. I mean, that's something
That's
he
gonna be
has to.
awful forever.
Mm-hmm. So then they load up and they head towards North Carolina. Now her and Harley, which Harley's her daughter, are supposed to follow them to North Carolina straight through, Um, but they arrive in her brother, her aunt, and her mom arrive in North Carolina, and Letitia and Harley don't show up. And they claim that they have no way of calling her or talking to her or anything because she ditched a phone and got a burner phone on the way, you know.
Hmm.
Well, they take off. They stay at a couple of hotels for a little bit, just to get a little bit of sleep, and then they go to Pensacola. Now, for years, everybody was wondering if Harley ever smelt anything. Did she know that Gannon was back there? She had a mixed amount of people who supported her because she was only 17 and possibly didn't know anything, and then she had a bunch of people that were thinking she was just as guilty as Letitia and that she was part of the cover up. But
Hmm.
we find out that because he was frozen solid from being outside in the weather for a few days, that she could have made that travel with the AC on, which Harley does say that she had the AC on very, very cold the whole way, without ever smelling him. And
Hmm.
then find out later on that the bridge inspectors, when they saw the suitcase, they walked right up to it and never smelled anything until they opened it.
Oh, Lord.
Right. So Harley was vindicated that she had no idea, that she never smelt anything. But they get to Pensacola, they check into a hotel. Harley goes to sleep, and sometime around 4 a.m. in the morning, Letitia sneaks out and goes and dumps his body under a bridge that she thought had water under it that went to the ocean, but it was dry season, so there was no water.
And that's where the people found it? She
Mm-hmm.
snuck out at the hotel? Okay, that's how. Okay. Damn,
Yeah.
this bee is crazy. I'll say bee.
Yes, Palmer Lake, Mamita. Mm-hmm. So then she comes back like nothing ever happened. They get showers. They leave the next day. They come down to Orlando and check into a hotel there where her plan is to get a job working for an airline as a stewardess or whatever. And she was going to let Harley go to start her training to go into the Air Force. And also, she had like a modeling job or something down here, but they
Can I
never
back
did.
up one thing?
Mm-hmm.
One question. I don't know if I missed this ADD or whatever, but if they're traveling and everything and they had the suitcase, what was the daughter told where the boy was? Like why? I mean, don't you think when you're traveling she's gonna say where's Gannon? Did she tell
Yeah.
him he went home with his dad? Like how did that work? How did that pan out? Was she
By the time
suspicious?
that they had left out from Colorado and headed towards North Carolina area, she had already started in with the stories about somebody kidnapping Gannon,
Oh, right, right, right. And what
all
about
of
the
that.
dad? He's at work. He's at work and she just up and moves?
The dad had, by the time Letitia left, the dad had actually came back from his military training, and he was there. What made Letitia so mad that she packed up everything and moved was that Landon flew in from North Carolina to be out there and search for her son. And
Hmm.
Al allowed Landon to come and stay at the house while they were all, you know, getting together the search party and searching for Gannon and all of that. Well, since Letitia hates her so much, she told Al she refused to be there if Landon was going to be there. And he said, okay, then that's your decision. And it ticked her off so
Bye,
bad
me.
that she decided to leave.
That
Yeah.
shows that doesn't look good either for her.
Oh, yeah, you should have heard the phone calls
Doesn't
because she
portray the loving stepmom if you're like, okay, bye. That doesn't make sense.
she never looked for him, not once. Not once did she ever even pretend to, go and look for him or anything. Which all the neighbors, testified about that and said that. She did tell her family that when they came out there to pick her up, that they were going to go and look for Gannon. But her family said that she never did and never allowed them to.
Weird.
She quickly wanted to get her stuff loaded up and get out of there. She did do that interview with Spencer Wilson, with KTLA, or not KTLA, can't remember what it is, but she did an interview with him right before she headed out. You can actually see her U-Haul in the background when she does that interview because he's out there. and she comes by and stops and starts yelling at him that he's got all the facts wrong. So he realizes who it is and says, "Oh, well, come over here and correct me then." And she does this interview with her back turned to the camera, where it's all about her, me, 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 and how everybody's treating her. And she claims that she's getting death threats online, which wasn't happening, and that everybody's blaming her, and she didn't do anything. She loves Gannon. She's this wonderful stepmom, and he's going to come home and prove to everybody that she's right, and people are going to owe her an apology.
Wow. That's a little too far, B.
Yeah. And then towards the end of the interview, Spencer says something to her around the effect of, you need to put a message out there for Gannon for the people to hear. It's all kind of been about you. Let's talk about Gannon for a minute. So she starts doing it, and then she goes, "Oh, hold on, I messed up. Cut that. Let's restart." So he's like,
Wow.
"Okay," and then she restarts, and she's, "Gannon, I love you, and I miss you, and I can't wait till you come home." Yeah, she just throws
Wow.
on waterworks like an actress.
That's freaking weird. That's just so incriminating, you dumb idiot.
Yeah,
Don't
yeah.
you ever watch TV? Murder mysteries? Damn. Hello.
She claims that she's so highly intelligent and so smart,
That's
but she shows time after time that she's as dumb as a box of rocks.
dumb as
She
ish right there. I'm
a
really trying to watch my
teacher.
language on your channel. Ugh, I
She's a
keep catching
teacher.
myself.
She claims that she's got a doctorate and everything, but she can't even pronounce words right half the time. I know,
Man.
it's like insane that she was able to be a teacher with her background and lack of education, because how can you be a teacher and you can't even speak properly?
How can you be a teacher when you just told me you found her background and it was all that criminal activity? Like, they're all quarried and everything. Somebody, like, dropped the ball or they were desperate for help or something. It's just
Well, she
weird. I
did,
would be pissed.
did end up getting fired, and in the process for lying, she got fired for lying the first time. She got fired twice from being a teacher. But in North Carolina, she was fired for lying. We don't really know what the lie was about, but in the
Probably
process of
her
her,
application.
yeah, but in the process of her investigation, she claimed that the principal hit on her and sexually harassed her.
Oh, that again?
Yep, but it became unfounded, and she got fired for lying. Um, and then in Colorado, she
That's slander. He lost his job. He could have sued her ass.
right. I think he let it go just because they moved,
Mm-hmm.
and he was like, okay,
Yeah,
whatever.
the
Gone.
hassle.
Yeah.
Drag it out.
So she knew she was never going to be a teacher again, and so she was going to be a flight attendant. That was her new goal.
Hmm.
Yeah, but she's got a history of just lie, 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 and every time that she's frustrated with a male figure, she claims that they sexually harassed her. She's got a history of that. And
Weird.
then the last thing that just fires me up about it all is that the whole time she was claiming insanity and DID and all that, she tried to claim that all of that came from her stepdad molesting her when she was a child, but her whole family said that it wasn't true.
She
Now they did
invented it.
question her brother on it, but her brother's so much younger than her. Like, she was moved out of the house before he was like 7 or something,
Mm-hmm.
so she wouldn't really know. But family that wrote in, and family that wrote to the psychiatrist and stuff, and it was interviewed by the psychiatrist, they all said they have no idea what she's talking about as far as the molestation stuff goes. But even if, let's just say that did occur, because in our generation, almost every woman in here probably has a story about somebody in their family being touchy feely and messing with them. Did that make any of us want to murder a child?
Hell no.
So to me, that's like extremely offensive that that's the excuse that she tried to use to make people pity her for murdering a child.
Wow.
Queen Ashley said some places will only go back, I believe, 5 or 10 years.
I don't know. I for my work, I had to do one every year, and it went back. The one I did work went back pretty far. I thought they all did, unless they changed it.
Chaotic said, I'm done eating, but y'all are doing great, and I'm still cursing her out, so maybe I shouldn't come on panel. Laugh out loud.
Chaotic. I keep catching my language because it's Alicia's channel. I keep saying "be" and "ish," and I'm trying to change my words. It's really hard, but I'm trying.
I already said shit one time
I think I
myself.
said I might have said a little bit, but I'm trying.
It's infuriating. The whole thing is. And I mean, I feel a lot better about it all today because we got the verdict and she's guilty, guilty, guilty. You know,
I
she
was
was guilty
certain she
of
was gonna get life. Yeah.
murder, guilty of tampering with the body, guilty of tampering with evidence, guilty of being an evil.
Oh, no way.
So she's never getting out. They said she will die in prison. And so I feel like but I wish they like took away any commissary. I mean, anything that would give her the least bit of happiness or pleasure, you know. But I guess you can't because constitutional rights,
Hmm. She'll
you
probably get
know.
some punches in the face, hopefully.
Yeah, she taught
Just
special needs
saying. Just saying.
children.
That's
Rosemary J.
frightening as hell. That
Can
pisses
you
me the hell off.
special needs children no less? I mean, that is like now.
It's
Gannon
something
had
we fear.
ADHD, so he was hyperactive. He had medication for it, but she should have been totally okay with that and had a special place in her heart for a child like that because of what she taught.
That's a lot of extra, a lot extra schooling and money too to get that degree. You have to do extra work and everything to be a special ed teacher, unless she was like a para.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't believe that they ever came out with exactly what she was, but we just know that she didn't have a doctorate and that she did lie about how advanced she was.
Ah, it's always going to come back. They're always going to look into it. That's frightening. Got to protect
Um,
our children. That's what we want. Start
yeah,
looking into
my
these people
dad,
you're hiring.
she would force her into gin pop. I would too. And then
Oh,
Gypsy
she's
said,
going to catch it in the face.
"Can I ask Can I ask pardon my manners? But was he dismembered?
Oh,
No,
God.
was he was sitting in a fetal position inside of. Actually, the way she placed him in the suitcase did come off like there was a little bit of care to it because she laid him on his side like in a fetal position on the pillow and she put the blanket around him as if he was just sleeping inside of the suitcase.
Mm.
So that was like, I mean, after everything that she did, I guess it doesn't really matter. But
After a
looking at it,
mental problem.
yeah.
Maybe
But
she got
look,
a little touch of reality, you
yeah,
know,
yeah. I'm thinking when it came to like
the
it was
enormity of the
over
situation.
the
Yeah.
final resting place. She did at least put a little grace into that. So for the rest of this, and I won't keep you guys much longer. I just wanted to show some pictures of him and not talk about her anymore. She's gone now. I hope she never gets a book deal or a documentary. Oh,
Oh, don't even want
I have
Netflix.
to say,
Imagine that.
I have to say this last part before I'm done with her. That expert witness that the defense brought in, that Dr. Lewis, who is a crazy in my opinion herself. She talks like Nancy Pelosi. Um, she can't answer a yes or no question. It takes her 10 minutes to answer a question because she rambles and rambles. She's the only person who said that yes, Letitia has DID and she didn't know what she was doing at the time and she fell for well She claims that she fell for Letitia's story. But I think, this is my opinion, but I think that she's getting ready to retire because she's like 84 or something like that. And in her whole life of, being this renowned psychiatrist and therapist and all this kind of stuff, um, she had never got to treat somebody and work with someone who had DID because it's so rare. It's like 1%, right? That
Hmm.
have that. Um, I think she thought that this was a wonderful way for her to end her career and go out with a bang. And so she had her son come in and video her entire sessions with Letitia, which is like against rules. Like, you're not supposed to do stuff like that. But she did. And then she led her through the whole thing. Like, she put thoughts and ideas into Letitia's head. She would ask her
Weird.
questions, and then she would follow up her question with a theory in a way to get Letitia to just roll with it. It's insane. And then, so it makes me think that that woman wanted Letitia to have DID so she could use her as her retirement documentary, you know, and end her
Well, with the
career.
filming and stuff, that does make it
Hmm.
suspicious. Or did she really believe it and thought, this is amazing, I got to capture this? And was she so excited that she thought she found that one that she did want to record it? And she did not intentionally lead to those questions leading because I don't want to say excited, but more intrigued as a doctor in that area that she finally got one, that she was like leading the questions and not realizing it because she thought she knew the answers because she's so smart and knowledgeable in it and hadn't got to work with somebody like that. You know what I mean? It could go both ways, but I think I'm leaning more towards what you said. I just always
Well,
try to think outside the,
anyway,
book, you know.
yeah, either way, I feel like she planned on putting a documentary out on it, whether she
Yeah,
believed her or not. I
right.
think
The
that.
point is she had a filming crew there. That says
Mhm.
something.
Yep. So I'm glad she got busted out for all of that and made to look
Oh,
like,
she got busted.
well, she got
I thought
busted as
maybe
far.
she could use it for courts. I thought maybe they could use it. That would be helpful because then another doctor could go over it too, like it sounds like they did. It was able to bust her, in a way.
Yeah, they busted her for having her son there recording it. They busted her for leading her on and putting ideas and thoughts in Letitia's head. And
Which they wouldn't have been
also,
able to if she didn't film. So it's good in a way that she got the filming done because she was able
yeah,
to be
they also
busted since there was proof.
a
You
payment.
busted yourself, lady.
Yeah, she took a decent payment from defense, which, I mean, it's normal for witnesses to get paid for their time, but she took like a decent payment, and she wrote up the most quickest, like, I believe Letitia Salk has DID and was insane at the time of murdering Gannon. Period. No big long review or anything. And then she sent it over. She signed it and sent it over to the defense to type it up and fill in more information.
Hmm.
And she allowed that. So she got busted for a lot of improper ways of doing things. So if she had an idea of a documentary coming out, it ain't happening now.
Nope.
So yeah, I hope she rots in there and no one ever gives her the time of day again. No more limelight put on her.
Hopefully, it will just further torment the parents, the family,
Right. And
if they
that
have to
makes
see
me
her on
so,
Netflix.
it
Because it,
infuriates me when
it
they
happens.
do that.
It's like the new
Yeah.
thing with jail. What's that guy that just the lawyer guy? I can't. I'm having a mind blank. The lawyer guy yeah. Oh my goodness, why can't I think of his name? Anyways, I'll think about it in a minute. The very prominent case that just happened with the
Yeah.
family of lawyers. Well,
Mm-hmm.
he's already got Netflix coming in,
Ugh.
and like his canteen is fully stocked, so the inmates all think he's cool and everything, and they're trying to get on his good side because they know they're thinking jail's a whole different place. Canteen is all the money. That's their money. anyone that has money on their books is good, and they want to kiss up to them and everything so they can earn some of their stuff, you know? That's how they obtain things and survive in there, other people's commissary. So
Mm-hmm.
he's a star right now in there because with Netflix coming in, you know, all the
That
inmates have their eye on him.
they did the same thing with Chris Watts' case. Like there was a Lifetime movie, there was like 3 documentaries, there was a book written about him. I mean,
Yeah, thank you, Murdaugh. Thank you. I don't know why I had a mind blank. Probably because I'm tired.
yeah, Alex Murdaugh, yeah. Um, and I am a true crime junkie, so I get the fascination with why, you know, the psychological reasons behind why people do the certain things that they do. But sometimes it's just downright because they're evil and they're selfish and they don't know how to
Hmm.
love and they suck as a person. That's all there is to it. So let them rot, and
Yeah.
quit
Yep.
giving them fame. They're practically a celebrity after they murder children, and that's disgusting. It needs to quit.
Hmm. It is disgusting.
Hmm. Okay, that being said, I'm going to take the rest of the time to show some pictures of Gannon. Everybody, please put some blue hearts in the chat for Gannon. And we will end this with just sending love towards his family and seeing his little life. Sound good?
Even I just want to say real quick, even Brian, is it Kohlberger? Is that how you say the name?
Uh
He's
huh.
even got he's even got love letters and stuff flooding into the prison. What is wrong with all these chicks? You're obsessed. You love them. Love letters?
Oh,
Yes, you know, like what the frig is wrong with people?
there's a disorder, and I cannot pronounce it, but I've copied and pasted it and put it in chat several times.
My
um,
goodness.
that women get. It's usually with women. It doesn't happen with men as much, where they fall in love with these misfits. With these perverts or rapists or killers or liars. Yeah,
Killers.
you know, and they will devote their whole lives to these men, and they will send them money and they'll send them letters, and we see it happen right here on YouTube.
So weird.
It's like the more evil they are, the more obsessed these women get with them, and it's disgusting too, but
I
whatever.
don't get it.
So I'm going to start with, now that Queen Ashley told me she's okay with it, this here is little bitty tiny Gannon. He was born just a pound and a half, preemie, and they told Al
That's
and Landon that he probably wasn't going to make it. But he fought hard, and at that time,
looks like my sister's baby.
hmm that's when the
She 2 pounds.
oh my gosh, I mean, just look at her hand right next to him. It's crazy.
The Yeah, my sister's baby. The diapers look like, you know, those trick or treat packages, the little mini M&M packages. That's how the diaper was, the size. Those little kid size M&M packets. That's what the diaper looked like.
Oh man.
Crazy. Yeah.
Um, Landon started when he survived that. That's when she started calling him G-Man and her little hero, because he made it through all of that, even though they said that he only had like a 5% chance of surviving.
Wow.
So that's how he started his life as a fighter right from the beginning. And when Al said today that he began his life fighting and he ended his life fighting, or his life was taken from him fighting, oh my gosh, it just,
I
whew,
know. It was hard.
look at that face.
How could she? Dumby.
Hmm.
Like to punch her in the face.
Oh, me too.
I
So
hope they take care of it. I hope they take care of it in there for us, you know?
now I asked permission to be able to include his sisters ahead of time, because I didn't know how they would feel about that. So we're good. Um, this child here, I think, is was his best friend at school, and she's been on the news and everything. So I think it's pretty okay to use this one, but Just wanted to show him getting his awards. Then here he is in his little Sonic costume with Lena, his little sister.
Hmm.
He loved Sonic. He was so excited to go see Sonic 2 when it came out. He had been
Oh yeah.
talking about it, and he started his own YouTube channel right before he was taken, and he only made one video on it where he's playing Sonic on there, and he talks about how soon, him and his friend are going to be making videos on YouTube all the time. And his parents said that he really thought he was going to become YouTube famous with his video channel, just so cute.
Hmm.
But unfortunately, he never did get to see the Sonic 2 movie that he was so excited about.
Ah.
All right. And there he is there. Here he is with his baby sister, the one that his mom had a rough pregnancy with, and, you know, why she was in the hospital all the time and stuff. He didn't, you know, despite knowing that it was because of the pregnancy with this little girl that caused his mom, to lose the home and lose him and Lena, he never held any kind of grudge towards his baby sister. Nothing. He loved her. And you can go on her Facebook page and you can see videos where he FaceTimes his mom asking to talk with his baby sister. It's so sweet. There's his mom and him and Lena being silly. And him making some crafts.
Looks like cookie decorating.
Mm-hmm. Minecraft shirt. My son had the same exact Minecraft shirt. Him and Lena. This is him FaceTiming his mom. This is a screenshot. You see how happy he is? He loved his mama. He's definitely a mommy's
Mom's
boy.
boy.
Letitia tried everything to break that by telling him every bad thing she could about his mother, but it did not stop his love for his mama.
Unreal that she would do that to a young kid with her educational background, no less. Dumby.
I know. Just a sick, sick woman. Mario costume.
Mario. Well, that's cool. My son would love that cake.
Yeah.
I'm zooming
So
in on it.
this is when he got to visit with her. Um, I'm so happy that he did get to see her just a couple of months before this happened. He got to spend a couple of weeks with her and his little baby sister, Elena. I'm sure she's going to cherish that time forever.
Hmm.
There he is again with, see that smile that he's doing right there? This is the same smile that my son used to do all the time. He doesn't do it so much now, but every time I would point the camera at him and tell him to smile, that he would do that that type of smile.
Hmm. The forced one. They always look so forced when you say cheese,
Yeah.
cheese. Mine still does that. It looks painful when he's smiling.
Now this one grips your heart, and I'm sure it does for Al too, because he
Ah,
wanted to be just like his daddy. He was going to be a soldier, That's what he wanted to do.
dang.
And they talked about today about Landon did about how much he loved his little sister, and she was his world, and they were closest of any brother or sister she had ever known about in her life, you know. And pictures prove it. Pictures and video proves how close they were.
Yeah.
And this is him feeling like he's on top of the world. Giving a rose to his mom.
Hmm.
Hugging his little friend. And that's when they were both tiny. Easter Bunny, another award. His little baby sister being born. And then I love this one, so I'm going to stop here with this one as far as pictures go. Now, I know everyone in here doesn't believe like me and Christian like me, but I have to, end this out on something that touched me greatly with this case. And if you don't believe the same way, maybe you can still at least understand, the sweetness in it. But when Al and then moved to Colorado, they started going to a new church in their area, and Gannon loved the church. And so for a year, he went to this church and he became friends with, you know, a lot of the people there because he was a very personable person, sociable. And he absolutely loved his Sunday school teacher. I'm surprised his Sunday school teacher didn't come out today and speak on Gannon's behalf, but maybe because he has so many times before. Um,
Hmm.
but he talked about how Gannon was just soaking up all the knowledge, he just absorbing everything that he could learn. And about 3 or 4 months after coming to the church, he decided he wanted to pray and give his life to Jesus and have Jesus come live in his heart, which we call being saved. Um, so he accepted Christ as his personal savior, you know. And he said that Gannon was so happy that day, just so happy. And he told him that he felt renewed and he felt fresh and he felt strong. And he was going to tell everybody about how to do this so they could feel the same way he did.
Wow.
And he said that Gannon did not disappoint, that he started going around and asking every person at the church, have you been saved? Do you know Jesus? you know, have you asked
It
him?
really touched him.
Yes. His teacher at school said that Gannon came in and asked her, have you asked Jesus to forgive you for your sins and
He
accept?
probably he was probably going around to the other kids.
So apparently
It's really cute.
within a couple of months time, he had told kids in the neighborhood, he had told parents of kids in the neighborhood, just everyone they come across. I mean, he was serious about this. And people in his family, he was calling up
He was
everyone. I mean,
spreading the word.
yes,
Man,
he
that's
was
something.
a little missionary. Well, after he was murdered, they held a memorial service for him at church. And this church they went to is what I would call one of those super churches because it's very big. And it was packed like sardines in there for the people who came out for him. So much so that there was even people standing outside. And they did the service for him, and then they spread the gospel and they talked about Gannon being saved and what he believed and how he was doing this. They asked people to raise their hand if Gannon had witnessed to them and told them about things, and a lot of people raised their hands. And at the end of that service, after the parents spoke and they played music, they did an altar call for anybody who wanted to come up and ask Jesus to forgive them for their sins and, to be saved by him and all that, profess their belief. And over 300 people came and done it.
Wow.
So for someone like me who's a believer, in a lot of these cases, you're always like, why? Why would God allow something like this to happen? None of this makes
Of
sense.
course.
But then you realize that he knew the Lord. And yes, he was taken out of this world in a horrific way. But well over 300 lives were touched on just that day. When Landon stands up and says that he's a hero and that he has changed lives forever and he'll continue to do that, I know what she's talking about. And I believe her. I think so. And even though if you could take it all back and he could still be here, of course you'd choose that. You get some peace within you knowing that he's in heaven and he's happy, and within a snap of a finger in time he's going to be with his mom and dad again for him, you know. um
Hmm.
you just think about all of the lives that were touched because of him. It's just amazing. Letitia will never be able to take that away. And so I just wanted
Nope.
to end it with that and say that he is definitely a hero, and his story is be used to touch lives, I think, for a very long time, and everyone that met him will forever be changed.
Well, I'm
Not
glad you knew about all that.
Yeah, I mean, not many people our age can even say that they've impacted so many people's lives like that, you know?
Absolutely.
Do you have any more questions or anything you want to say to close out on
I'm just
this?
I'm glad you got that. I got to hear that part of the story because I didn't hear it. I mean, that will probably stay with me out of all this. You
Yeah.
know.
Yep. I think it gives me some closure, I guess, you know. And I think that's also what keeps Al and Landon going too, because they also are strong believers, and it kind of, I guess, in a way gives them some peace. You know, they know that they're going to be with them again one day, and that, you know,
Hmm.
he's a hero to so many people, and that his little life in such a short time reached so many people. And I think that's just an amazing thing, instead of losing a child and it being such a senseless act and you just cannot make any sense of it, you know. That's got to be
No, you can't
horrible.
when you just hear the trial. No, you can't. But then, putting it into this perspective and giving this side of them and everything, it made it feel like more like believable. You know them, and it did give me a different spin on things, I guess you could say, and it will impact me more. And I'm just glad I got to hear this part of it because I wouldn't have had any idea, and I won't forget all this part of it. I'm just glad I got to hear that part.
Yeah,
Glad
look
you
up
told this part.
when you can, look up Gannon Stout Memorial. I cannot remember what the church's name was, but I mean, they've had a few, so you have to look for, because they've had like a bikers ride for him and stuff like that. But look at the one that they had at the church. I think it's like an hour long, and just watch it. All the people that come down, and all the people that raise their hands. I mean, it's just amazing the people he touched. Incredible, actually.
Yep.
All right, guys. Well, I'm going to close it out so I can get to bed because, you know, Belly will be rising early in the morning.
All
I call her
right.
Belly now because she wants to eat nonstop.
Uh, That's
I
funny.
thank you for coming up, Sarah, and helping me
All right,
through all of this.
anytime. Thank you
And
for telling this side of him, sharing
everyone
this
in the
part of it.
chat too, and sticking with me through this. I know we didn't have a big crowd, but that's fine. I love you guys all. I love you, Sarah.
Thank you.
And
Love you too.
I guess we'll wrap it up then, and I'll see you guys all on the YouTube streets.
Sure thing. See ya.
See ya. Bye, y'all. Bye, Chaotic. Love you.